Welcome to the Emotional Support Animal Show, episode 14. We're excited to have you with us as we explore the world of emotional support animals and the difference they make in their handlers' lives. Each episode, we talk with registered ESA handlers from the UK Registry, ESA Registry UK, who share their personal journeys and how their animals support them and their unique bond they share. From uplifting stories to everyday insights, this episode is sure to inspire. Whether you're an ESA handler, consider one, or simply curious, you're in the right place. Just a quick note, I'm a volunteer hosting this show and everything I say reflects my own views. So sit back, relax, and let's get started to episode 14 of the Emotional Support Animals. Let's get started. Hi, and thanks for coming on the show. To start, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little about your emotional support animal, what kind of animal they are, and their name, and what makes them unique?
My name's John, or Jonathan. I'm basically enjoy geeky things like going out to conventions, etc. My emotional support animal is a cockapoo, and his name is Dogbert, which the name was given to him based on the fact he was going to be an office dog. And there's a series called Dogbert, which is like a set of cartoons that comes out daily. And the Dilbert's dog is called Dogbert, who can cause havoc in the office and is known to be slightly more intelligent than Dilbert is. So I figured, what a name to give your dog if he's going to become an office support animal for you, then Dogbert when you're an IT specialist. So that's where his name came from. He is quite literally one of my best friends now, and the thing is, if you told me 10 years ago I'd have a dog, I'd have told you, nah, we're a cat family. But post-COVID, unfortunately, I started getting massive depression problems, mainly because one of my friends passed away during COVID. And it kind of affected my entire life. I started going into a depression and I went very suicidal. So went to one of the local counselling services in Milton Keynes, and they had a dog that walked around the place and helped, just comforted people basically. And Mum had gone off to do her thing, and she came back to get me and saw that I had this dog and I was stroking it, and she went, he seems so much more happy just with that animal in his lap, sort of thing, and decided that might be something to get. So that's when the idea of getting Dogbert came into existence. Was in the counselling, I hadn't slept for about 4 days because I was stressed about the loss of my friend, and I was struggling with all that. Dogbert, little tyke. He's seen something. And yeah, so I had the that stress of those sort of things, and went to this counsellor, spent about 4 or 5 months with them, basically getting all this sorted. But midway through that, I got Dogbert, and just spending the time going for walks with him after 12 weeks and started to reduce the stress anyway. And that's when my trainer at the time had suggested that once he'd reached the age of 2, he could become a emotional support animal. She said, because before that, he's going to reach 15 months where he won't listen to you for a little while, and no point in making him an emotional support animal at that point because he won't be listening to you at all. So that's where the whole thing started, and that's me introducing myself. I'm sorry, I went a bit further, I think, than you needed to there.
You went through the first question. Okay. Well, once your emotional support animal became part of your life, what changes did you notice first in your daily routine, mood, or sense of stability?
Oh, sorry, I'll be back.
That's all right. There he is.
Yeah. I noticed with him that I no longer needed to panic about my my depression. So I had reached the suicidal stage, and I do apologise using that word because I know it defunds you on YouTube, but I'd reached a stage where I wanted to finish it all. And once I got him, it was all about him, and everything came about making sure that he was okay and that Dogbert was looked after, etc. And you'll find that with him, he likes to do a lot of moving around and making noise and checking on everything and being investigative.
Mm-hmm.
And
can you share? Yeah, can you share a memorable story when your emotional support animal was there during a challenging time?
Yeah. So my first Comic-Con my first time going to Comic-Con after being diagnosed with my heart condition, we'd taken Dogbert with us and we didn't know the call signs that he had picked because he decided them himself. I hadn't decided them with him. And my mate and myself were at the con, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he needs to go poop, because he jumped up on my side of my leg and barked.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, oh, you need to poop, obviously, I'll take you outside. My mate said, do you mind if I just wander off and get something and we'll meet you back at this point? Okay, no worries. She wanders off. I start trying to walk forward and I pass out. I wake up with Dogbert on my lap, on my chest, barking his head off to get attention. Right? He had already told me, without me realizing, that my blood pressure had gone low. So he had detected something on me that I didn't even know he knew how to do. So he has two signs that he does when we're walking. If he jumps on my right side, that says blood pressure's low, sit down. If he jumps at my front and barks, he's saying your heart's playing up, slow down or sit down, and we're going to wait a bit. And what he'll do is, if I sit down, he'll sit on my lap and wait until he's ready for me to leave again, and then he'll get off my lap and give me a lick on my face to say, you're ready to go, Dad. So this is something he taught himself, because all he was ever taught to do was to look after my stress levels.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm sat in the office, he will jump at my arm and put his paws on my arm and say, come on, Dad, you need to take me for a walk because you're stressed. And so then you walk away from the situation, come back, and boom, you're back to being ready to work again.
That's great. What are some of your emotional support animals' quirks or favourite things to do that always lifts your spirits?
And it's going to sound terrible, but it's not actually what it sounds like. He likes to get chokeslammed. And by chokeslam, I don't mean like by the throat. I lift him up by his chest and drop him onto the bed and then give him strokies, basically. And then what he does is we'll do that, lift him up, throw him on the bed, and I go 1, 2, 3, you've been pinned, sort of thing. And then he plays around and things and all that. And it's all just gentle, sort of rough play, but not rough play, but gentle play.
Mm-hmm.
And it sort of really lifts your mood up. And then in the mornings, if you're feeling depressed, he knows, and he'll come into the bed and lay by your head. Now, the picture you're showing in the background, that was him when he was 8 weeks old, and I was teaching him how to, use the bowls and all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And he's my first ever dog. The lady who sold him to me was even worried because I'd said I had Asperger's syndrome, and the dog was for that reason. But she wasn't sure what I meant by that. But then she's also said now that he's one of the most looked after dogs she's known, because he goes everywhere. He's gone to Comic-Cons as a Wookiee. He's been to Liverpool Comic-Con and seen the entire cast of Starship Troopers. He will come to the doctors with me. He'll come to the dentist with me. He goes to the chiropractor with me. So he goes everywhere. He's literally my life. He keeps me going everywhere, every time I can. And if I'm stressed, or if I'm feeling depressed, or if I don't want to leave the house, he forces it, because he's like, no, Dad, I know that if you're feeling depressed and you go for a walk with me and we have our little playtime where you throw a ball and I'll catch it, or if I play tug with you, you'll cheer up, because you're not thinking about whatever's stressing you out. You're now taking the time to focus on the thing you love the most. And he really does know it, and that's the thing. So we've got 2 events coming up. So on the 24th of this month, one of my mates is having a costume party at a place in Milton Keynes. So it'll be myself in costume and Dogbert in costume going there. And then November 29th, we've got Comic-Con, and it's going to be 5 guys plus me and Dogbert, going down to Birmingham Comic-Con to spend time with some other mates I know down there and just go and be geeky with the dog, keeping me sane. And I mean, Liverpool Comic-Con was the best example of what a support animal can do for you. So my mate Sadie took me to Liverpool Comic-Con, and it was 137,000 people at this event. Now, before I had Dogbert, I couldn't attend an event with 30 people. I'd have panicked and I'd have walked out. The only thing I cared about while I was at Liverpool Comic-Con is Dogbert okay? Is he going to get stepped on? Do I need to pick him up? Do I need to make sure he's okay? Do I focus on this? People were saying, oh, you know, he's such a lovely dog. And I'm saying, yeah, go for it. Give him a stroke. And I know technically I'm supposed to say no, he's not to be stroked. But I've worked out that with Dogbert, if he gets stroked and if he's looked after like that, people actually respect him more because he's looking after me, but he's also keeping on them. And he won't let people stroke him if I'm in a situation. So when I had passed out, people wanted to stroke him, but that whole day, he was like, no, I'm not letting you stroke me. I am focused on Dad. Mm. Dad is there. He's going to keep me going. I'm going to keep him safe. He has to be focused on, you're not getting me. I'm not interested. But once I recover from things, and if I'm not in that bad situation, then he'll just go, can I? Yeah, you can, Dad. Dogbert. And he goes and does it. And he's like, and there are times that he will be scared of things. Like the first time he ever saw someone with cerebral palsy, he wasn't sure because the person's in a chair, the hands slightly turned. He's like, what's going on here, Dad? So I'll pick him up. The person will give him a stroke. I'll put him down, and then he'll go back and say hello to the person a second time because he then knows it's safe to do so. Mm-hmm. But he looks to me for advice on who he can say hello to. And I've come to the point of, I've only got him as a support animal until he's 10, because after that, he's going to be, he might be incontinent, might need that. So I'll need to get another dog at that point to look after the support side of things, but I still want him to be a dog. So I've trained him to be a dog first, support animal second. And the trainer that I used had said that's the best way to be with him because, that's what you want. And the first set of trainers I had only wanted to put him in a crate all the time, and I can't do that with my dog. I don't want a crate dog. I mean, put it this way, when he was his first ever night sleeping, I put him in a pen, not a crate, which had a no top, and it was like a fabric pen. I woke up the next morning, him on the bed. He'd worked out that with the fabric pen, he could push the pen to the side and climb up the side onto the bed. So since then, he's always been on the bed. Mm. And I wouldn't change it for a thing. He has been the best thing to happen to me ever. And he knows it. And at the moment, he's getting lots of loves because that's what he's wanting.
How has having your emotional support animal influenced your relationships with friends, family, or neighbours and the local community?
Local community, I've met loads more people because I used to be a shut-in. I wouldn't leave the house because Asperger's syndrome tended not to want to leave, didn't want to associate with people. Sorry, just 1 second, plugging in because it's saying it's low battery. I didn't want to associate with people because of the having to talk to people and to that. Whereas I discovered that with Dogbert, I don't have a choice. He wants to go, he needs to go poop, he needs to go pee. He wants to do things. I know we're talking about you, Mr. Man. You okay? 1 second. You okay? Yeah. Should I put you down? Ready? 1, 2, 3 on the 4. There you go. Sorry, we have a little set of things we do. 1 moment.
Yep.
He also has a funny thing of not liking the doors closed, and Nana closed the doors because we've got a cleaner in today, but It's funny with him. He doesn't like doors closed or anything like that. I think it's because we had to try that crate training for one of his trainers, and we were like, nah, that's not going to happen anymore. But yeah, no, he is... What was the question? Sorry, because I've lost it there.
Talking about affecting
Relationships
influencing
with
your
friends.
relationship
Yeah.
to friends, family, or neighbours in the local
Well,
community.
all my friends have been over the moon to have him help me and all that sort of thing. And my best friends, Colin and Sean, will even go for walks with Dogbert and me, and we just go for like a random walk every so often, just to get used to, him and getting him out and about. And the fact is that both Colin and Sean have been trying to get me to lose weight, which luckily enough I have been recently. But back when I first met Colin and Sean, I was about 36 stone. So I was massive. And I'm now down to 19 stone. So big change. And Dogbert has actually helped quite a bit with that as well, because it's upped my step counter, because I've had to keep trying to walk with him, even though I've had to stop a lot because of my heart, and I'm having to, keep stopping and going, okay, I need to stop for a minute, Mr. Man. And he knows, because he'll stop and he'll wait. But that's the case. And then with the family love him. There's never been a problem with dogs in our family. They all love the dogs and stuff. But the fact that Dogbert is an emotional support animal, they've even love it more, because that means that he can come and do things. So we went on holiday, for instance, to
we'll get on to travel soon. Hang on.
Oh no, I was going to say, no, this is family. This is a family thing.
Yeah.
We went on a holiday to Great Yarmouth with him to meet some of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And the family were like, oh, well, we'll go to this pub that we live over. And I was like, okay. And we let him in the pub, and the pub people were like, okay, yeah, he can come off the lead. And he was literally just walking around the pub. And they were like, how have you got him so well trained that he's not jumping at people and he's not doing this, that, and the other? I'm like, well, that's just how the trainer told me to treat him, which is that he doesn't jump at people unless he's with me on a specific lead. So we have two leads. We have a long lead, which is what we call the play lead, which means he can jump, he can run, he can play ball. And then the short lead, which is, you are working now. This lead means you don't jump, you don't do this, you do specific things. And he's worked it out quite well. So that's the case. So I'll let that go that bit now. But that's basically that was just a case of, I was bringing in the travel thing just because it was with family, and we'd gone over to their to meet them basically, and that was them commenting on how well trained he had been and everything, because of what he was like, and how he hadn't even jumped at anyone. He was just walking around a pub giving people sniffs and saying hello to people if they wanted to say hello to him. Have
you run into any difficulties with housing, travel, or business because of the emotional support animal? And how did you handle those situations?
Well, my last job, I wanted to bring Dogbert with me into the office, because they started wanting us to go into the office more. And the office building said, no, you can't have an emotional support animal in the office. You can only have a assistance animal. If it's a blind dog, you can have him. If he's an emotional support animal, he's not allowed. And I was like, yeah, but under section 30 of the emotional support, the Disability Act, you should be allowing him in. Oh, no, we don't have to allow him in. And so I told my HR people, and they fought with them for a while. And after a little while, it was agreed that yes, he could come in. But the lady who didn't want him in obviously doesn't like dogs, because the reaction that I got from Dogbert when he saw her, I've never had him react to anyone like that. He literally pushed himself against the door to the point where he was almost going through the door to get away from her. That's how scared he was. And I've never had him scared of anyone. He normally just like, oh yeah, let's have a chat with someone. No, he didn't want to do that. So that gives you an idea. She just didn't like dogs, I think, and didn't want him in.
Yeah. Many people misunderstand emotional support animals. Is there one misconception you'd like to clear up for the viewers?
Well, I mean, the thing is, with emotional support animals, they are basically just assistance animals, but without paying the massive fortune that you have to pay for an assistance animal. So I had looked at getting an assistance animal, but that would have been 15 grand to get an assistance animal for Asperger's syndrome.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And I was like, well, why don't I just get a dog for, $1,250 or, to $1,250, and then train him myself, and then get the emotional support animal license, because I can train the dog to be an assistance animal. And I have, because nowadays he is friendly to people. He never jumps and never attacks people. His default setting is sit. So if I'm got him on the lead and I've stopped, he'll sit and just wait. There's none of this pulling, none of this thing. If he's in work mode, that's his default setting. He's always clean, etc. So I looked it up, and that is the requirements for an assistance animal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, why am I paying someone 15 grand to do what I can do for, a couple of thousand? And even though he doesn't have the same rights, I get annoyed with that, because I think he's still just as qualified, if not more qualified, than some of the assistance animals I've seen.
Well, because of your hidden disability, you've got rights, and then the animal, Dogbert, he's a medical aid, just like a wheelchair or crutches and all that sort of thing. So,
and I mean, that's the thing. And I will say, I've noticed that he has literally become almost like a walking aid for me, because I wouldn't leave the house after COVID. I'd got to that point where I didn't want to leave the house at all. And when I finally got Dogbert, I was forced to leave the house for walkies. And then I realized that actually it wasn't the walkies that were making me leave the house. It was that I wanted to leave the house, but I was too scared to, because of my brain overthinking things, which that's Asperger's for you. And that's, well, autism, sorry. I've been told off multiple times recently for saying the word Asperger's, because apparently that's not a diagnosis anymore. It's that's a bad word according to certain people.
Okay. From your personal health perspective, how does your emotional support animal help you manage specific symptoms of your condition or disability?
As I said, he's got certain tells that he'll tell me to do things. And even Mum has seen this. So we were at a local CEX store. I was trading in a game system, and I'm talking to the gentleman, and Dogbert goes to my right and jumps up and barks. And Mum's like, "Oh, no, don't do that, John. Don't do that, Dogbert. Don't do that." Sort of. She didn't realise what was going on. I said, "No, I need to sit down. My blood pressure's playing up." And so I sat down. He sat on my lap, and that was him sort of showing what he can do. So it's all about listening to the dog. But the first time he ever did it, I didn't listen because I didn't know. But now I do. Oh, the funny one, I have to tell you this one, because otherwise it would think. When we were at that same Comic-Con, he had jumped up on the leg of a kid and done the same bark. And I later discovered that the kid passed out doing lightsaber training because his blood pressure went down. So Dogbert had detected in the kid the same thing he detected in me.
Interesting.
So he's very smart little cookie, that one.
Thinking about your local area, how have businesses, public spaces or services responded to the emotional support animal? Has some been more welcoming than others?
I will say I've only had a couple of issues, and after having a phone call with the head office of those places, it was dealt with very quickly. So we had little Tesco's down the road. I went in, and the guy who was the manager, I'm going to put inverted commas there because he no longer is, said to me, "You can't have your dog in here." I showed him the license. He went, "No, doesn't matter. This store is too small, and if someone finds a hair in their food, I'll get sued." I'm like, well, he's nowhere near the food. For one, this is when I was in like the drinks aisle. I was like, I'm nowhere near the food here, mate. But that's not a problem. He's literally laying on the floor as we're talking to each other, so he's not even going left or right. He is stopped because I've stopped. And he's like, no, you can't do that. So I went and rang up Tesco's head office and was like, can I just check with emotional support animals, are they allowed in your Tesco's if it's a small one? Because I know he's allowed the big one, because I've been in there multiple times. They've had a problem. They went, it could be a 1 foot by 1 foot Tesco's. He's allowed in there. He's an emotional support animal or he's an assistance animal. We allow them in the Tesco's. Would you like us to put something on your club card? So if it ever happens again, just tell them to scan the club card and it'll read what they need to do. I said, oh, that's great, thank you. And that was the way they dealt with it for me. But that was the first time I'd had problems with it. And then there's we have a one shop nearby where the lady didn't understand emotional support animals to start with. But the second that I showed her the license and it said, that he's a medical age, she went, oh, okay, and then let him in.
Yeah, that's most businesses, they haven't seen it and they don't know about them. But once you explain nicely, they usually allow it. It's interesting about what you said about Tesco. I'll have to try and inform people they can ring head office and get it on their club card because we didn't know that.
Oh, no, I didn't know that myself until I did it. But the person in question though was fired afterwards because he had been doing it to a few people.
Oh.
And he didn't want dogs in there. He didn't like dogs, so
yeah.
But
okay. Here's a travel question. If you've travelled with your emotional support animals, what was that like? Did you face challenges, or were there moments that stood out as especially positive?
To be fair, we've only ever had positive with travel.
Good.
So every time we've gone on holiday with Dogbert, which is so far we've gone 4 times on holiday with him. Once to Devon, and 2 times I went to what's it called, Great Yarmouth. And once we went to Liverpool with him, which Liverpool was, I wouldn't call it a holiday actually, it was a day and a half, so I don't know if that's classified as a holiday. It was like a long weekend, if that. But the other 2, so his Liverpool trip, he was nothing but good. He listened to everything. The only minor technicality was he was sick in the car, but that was my fault more than it was his, because I was eating a burger. He wanted a bit of it. I gave him a bit of it, and it was a low cost burger, so it had extra things in it that it shouldn't have had. Because if I'm going to give him a burger, normally I'll buy like a really expensive one, like from a proper place where it's just meat and it's not meat and onions or that.
The other things.
Yeah, and so that was my mistake. I fully admit that. But yeah, so that was the only negative, but every other time for positive. So like the second time we went to Great Yarmouth, for instance, I had actually got him from being an on-lead dog to an off-lead dog, to the point where I could walk him down a road and he wouldn't cross the road. And that's how he built up his, where our trust had been built up to the point where I could call him and he'd come back, and all that sort of thing. So each time we had gone on these trips, we'd done walkies and everything, and it built up a lot more of a trust between us. And like the first ever time, we only had one walk, which was this was in Devon. We had one long, I think it was like 16-mile walk you could do each day if you wanted. We only did like a half a mile each time, but he would go running off and he'd explore the world and everything, and then if you called him, he'd just come back. And that was the first time of getting him to come back to you for calls and stuff, because I knew where he was, because I've got a little tracker for him, so I know where he is at all times. But it's a case of just getting him used to the idea of coming back to you, forward, back, and that was the thing. And every time we've gone on holiday, we've built the emotional trust up each time, and it's just built up and up and up with him. And now when I take him for a walk now, I don't have him on lead most of the time. The only times I have him on lead is if it's near one of the big main roads, and then I'm like, it's not that I don't trust you, dog, but I just don't trust them, the main road. So I'm going to keep you on the lead, and that's it. And he doesn't mind. He knows that if he's on the lead, it's a safety thing, not a trust thing. So he gets off lead a lot, and he just gets to walk around. And if it's a dog I don't know, I stop him, I put him on lead, I check that he's okay to say hello to the dog first, things like that. So we've got that kind of trust being built every time we go on holiday. And every time we go on holiday, he loves the car journey. He will sit on your lap and look out the window as the world goes by, as if to say, oh, what's that? Where's this? Why are we doing this? Where are we going? And that kind of thing. So he's got all that enjoyment thing. And it's like, a breath of fresh air to see how happy he is about things.
Just to let you know, Eurostar takes emotional support animals now, so you can take them to Europe.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I was eventually going to go to Sweden with him.
Yeah, and then trains in Europe, you can take emotional support animals on as well, so you can get around Europe everywhere and back in. Okay, what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about getting an emotional support animal, both about the process and about choosing the right animal?
Well, choosing the right animal's all about how you train the animal more than anything, because I think any animal can be an emotional support animal as long as they're willing to help you to deal with things, and they can almost be trained to walk alongside you and keep an eye on you. I mean, I always worry about saying that, because I don't expect like a parrot to be an emotional support animal when it comes to walking alongside you, because I can't see how that would work. I mean, it probably does, but I couldn't see it myself. But with the training side of it, I would say slow and steady is the way to do it with the animal, and listen to what the animal's telling you, because with Dogbert, for instance, he would tell us that he wanted to go for less walks than more walks, because the more walks he went on, the less focused he was, because it was giving him too much pent-up energy. Whereas if you took him for 2 walks a day at half a mile each time, and then in the house we just did some training with him the other times, he would pick up quicker than if you took him for 4 walks a day and then tried to do training during the walks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about just listening to your animal and just sort of getting used to the feeling. And honestly, with the emotional support animals, I'd say if you're having trouble with anything and you need some help, go for it, because honestly, they are a gift that, you know, keeps on giving. I personally feel like they should be on the NHS. That's how good they are. But that's my own opinion on it, because of how I feel with regards to how it's affected my life. Because as I say, I went from suicidal to just depressed, and I'm not even that badly depressed anymore, because I've got Dogbert to look after me. And whenever I feel down, he'll jump up my arm and say, "Dad, we're going for a walk because you're feeling down." And so he's watching me and I'm keeping an eye on him, and we're both working together in a kind of almost symbiotic way.
For those who already have an emotional support animal, what tips can you share about caring for the animal in a way that also balances your needs?
I do not know, because unfortunately I am a spoiler. I have spoilt Dogbert quite a lot. He gets loads of like toys. He's got the top kibble I could get him, and he eats things like ribeye steak, and anything that we eat in the house he'll have a bit of. So as long as it's not poison, obviously, but you know what I mean. It's like if we're having a ribeye steak, he'll have a bit of ribeye steak from me, he'll have a bit of steak from Mum. So I can't honestly say that I know how to balance what to give the animal, because I spoil my dog, and it's kind of basically just because he does so much for me that I end up thinking to myself, well, if he has a little bit of this, it's not a problem, sort of thing. But as I say, I would say to them, just treat your animal with love and they'll treat you the same.
Part of the family. Finally, if you could leave the audience with one message about emotional support animals, about their role, their importance, or what people often overlook, what would it be?
Well, mine saved my life. So I would say, think about the fact that there are people out there who won't always show the problems they're having, but having a dog that can literally help you stop yourself from feeling like the world is against you, that is enough to be a positive. And I'd say, yeah, make sure that you let the people know that that you are, if you're feeling depressed, let people know you're feeling depressed and get something to help you. The animal will literally save your life, because he will keep you going. They'll come to you when you're depressed. They'll give you love. They'll give you comfort. And there's nothing like a dog's unconditional love. Honestly, they I've never seen anything like it. And because since the age of like 5, I've had cats in the house, and cats are not unconditional lovers. They just like to go, yeah, we own you, is the cat thing. Whereas with a dog, it's, oh, hello, you're back. Let's have some love. And that's how it works. So it was a lot of difference between the two. And I say, this is my first ever dog. And I would say I would not be without one now. Because if you feel down, they're there for you. If they're feeling down, you're there for them, and you're giving them loves, they're giving you loves, they're refreshing your batteries, you're refreshing their batteries. They make you get out and about, which gives you more exercise, which then gives you more endorphins that keep you going. So I'd say, yeah, the best thing you can have is making sure that you have the dog to keep you going. Worst thing you can do is ignoring your own health. And with that, I'd say, look, think about your health. And if you feel really depressed, take the time to go back and go, okay, do I need a emotional support animal to help me? Would it give me the drive to get out more and actually experience the world? Because experiencing the world is what reduced my depression. And I think it would do the same for other people.
Right. Okay, thank you, John and Dogbert, for coming on the show. It's much appreciated. And everybody, if you have an emotional support animal and like to come on the show, please contact the Emotional Support Animals Registry UK, and they will send me a message and I'll contact you back. And thank you to all those viewers watching this show. The ESA show is volunteer hosted and independent from the ESA Registry UK. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. Hit the thumbs up and, of course, share the video link on your social media. And again, John, thank you very, very much.
No problem, Dave. Thank you very much for having me on.